Hi guys, I made this little fan driven delivery van last night, or the night before actually. And it's got a hook on the side of it and it runs round a pylon. It's tethered, so it goes round in a circle. And Elnufo saw that video and suggested I could do the same thing with an aeroplane. Put a string on it and hang it from the ceiling so that it goes round in circles. That means you can use an aeroplane that wouldn't normally fly, one that's too heavy. So that gave me the idea of using this little kit that my grandson put together before Christmas. It's quite a heavy plastic kit. It's got a little pull-back motor on it, which works. Not particularly well, but it does work. But that would be ideal, because that's much too heavy to fly normally. I'm pretty sure I can just cut a hole in the front there and mount one of the motors in there. It would be nice to reuse that propeller, but I don't know if that will be good enough to actually make it go forward, so I might still have to use one of these other propellers. And rather than rig up a LiPo battery, which is what that is, with a charger on it, I should be able to just use an ordinary 1.5 volt battery, because that's what those little motors normally run on. So I should be able to put that in the body somewhere, motor at the front, a bit of string on it at the balance point, and let it fly around hanging from the ceiling. So we'll give it a try. Have a look, see how much space we've got inside. Yeah, that'll fit in there okay. If I cut that off the front, that knobbly bit, and open it out a little bit, that should be the right size for a motor. I've got plenty of these Oral-B toothbrushes, so if I just cut out those bits of plastic there, then the battery should slide in quite nicely, and I'll have to glue the back of the body together. Just hot gluing the battery mount into the fuselage. I've wrapped some paper around the battery so the battery doesn't actually get glued in place. The electric motor will fit in the front there, so I'll have to open that out a little bit. I'll use my soldering iron just to melt it, and this black piece, which is supposed to be the exhaust pipes, I'll need to cut a little bit out the front of it so that the motor fits in. Now we need to remove the offset weight from the end of the shaft. The last thing you want to do is try and pinch it off like that, because what usually happens then is the shaft pulls right out of the motor, still with the weight attached, and you've ruined the motor. So what I do is I try and tap a piece of wire, a stiff piece of wire, the other way. So I've got a hole in a piece of wood here. I've got one of these utility knife blades, which I slide over there. To support it. Then I try and tap straight through the middle. Now this piece of wire looks a bit thin, so I don't know if it's strong enough. Well, I think it did. Not quite all the way. better. Clean off. And there's our motor. So we need to fit that in there and find a propeller that will fit it. I've soldered some wires on to the battery connections, also a little on-off switch which I'll mount under there somewhere, so we've got easy access to it. And I'll check what propellers I've got so I know which way round to connect the wires to the motor so it goes the right way. As I said, it would be nice to use this propeller, but I think it would be impractical. So there we are, motor in place, bit of hot glue holding it in place, battery in place, hot glue holding that in place, and then we got the on-off switch there, which I'll poke out through the bottom of the wings. All up together. Now what I need to do is establish the best balance point to get it to fly round in a circle, because the centre of gravity is quite far back with the battery sitting back there. So at the moment that's the balance point, but I may need to add some weight front or back to try and get it to actually fly level. I've just attached a temporary hook to my conservatory roof. Give it a while to get going. I think we need to get the balance slightly different. Oh, there it goes. Nearly. Well, there we go, gents. It's just not quite right. The balance isn't good enough and the power's not quite enough. Looks nice, but it's not going to do what we want it to do. So I'll call it a day now.